In 2020, there was a drone visiting my farm very frequently over about a 2-month period. It wasn't flying incredibly low, but the flights were very frequent and we felt them to be a real nuisance, particularly the number of times that the drone was flying low enough to be able to look into windows of our home. It went away eventually. We didn't see it for a while, and starting in, I believe, June this year, maybe May, started having visits. This time the behavior was much more aggressive. So unlike last time, this time around, it was following us, intentionally following individuals, myself, family members, friends here at the farm when we were outside. As we moved between different buildings or in our gardens, it was tracking our movements. Multiple times it made as many as 5 flights in one day. And really disturbingly, being outdoors with my small children, this drone flew incredibly low, came very close to me and my minor children, and was very obviously photographing us. So we've taken measures like we are closing windows and using window treatments that we normally wouldn't use because we don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable on our own property. We are being watched, we are being surveilled right where we live. I'll step out my back door, just right out my back door, and have had the drone waiting there for me, and then follow me as I walk around. Same with my children, and to me, this is just really unacceptable behavior that no one should have to tolerate, and there has to be ways that we can deal with this and address this so that people don't have to live this way.
Recently, we've got a report from a local family here in Rockingham County, Virginia, that they were being harassed with a drone by someone, unknown who, but when our office responded, the drone obviously had already left, but we didn't know where it was coming from or who was flying it. Since this was the first case of this kind that we've had, we really didn't know where to start. And even though I'm familiar with drones myself, this type of law infraction is something that is new in law enforcement in general. Unlike a normal case that we'd respond to, where the perpetrator would usually be on site, or even if they had left, they would have left signs behind. When it comes to drones, the drones are coming in from the air, and there's no way really to know who is doing it, where they're coming from, and usually once you arrive, they're gone. Since we didn't really know where to start due to lack of knowledge and resources, with this being such a new technology and new kind of crime, we have recently been working with the drone responders, Virginia State Police, the manufacturer, as well as the FAA to determine exactly how would be best to respond to the situation and to investigate this case. Knowing what resources to turn to and who to turn to is a big help. But unfortunately right now, that information isn't out there. I got to figure a lot of law enforcement officers wouldn't know how to respond in this case. Many people, when the word drone is mentioned, they probably freak out a little bit and get the deer in the headlight look, not knowing where to go, what to do. But there are resources out there, and I've learned in investigating this case that they're very good resources, and hopefully all the rest of the law enforcement will start to learn and be able to use them too. So I hope that anybody that has questions feels free to reach out and ask, because you won't know where to start if you don't ask.
I think one really key thing that happened here that is really important, and I hope more and more people can be aware, is that during one of these low flights, my partner was able to attempt to connect to the drone's Wi-Fi. And what that did for us was help us get its serial number. And that really changes everything, because then at least we have something concrete to go on to identify the person flying it. At this point, there's been dozens and dozens of flights over the last 2 or 3 months. Just the sound of a drone at this point, it generates a lot of physical anxiety and frustration at just feeling like we've been powerless to get this to stop. Because this is going to keep happening to other people, and people need to not be in a situation where they're being harassed and stalked and having a trespassing issue like this for months at a time, and really struggle to have that come to an end. The other important thing I think to come out of this will just be citizens knowing their rights, knowing what recourse they can take, and knowing any key action steps like trying to connect to the Wi-Fi and kind of who to call, what to expect, and maybe what to do if you're not getting the response that you're hoping to get to end a case of stalking and harassment.